Well, howdy, physics sleuths and inquisitive souls, and welcome again to another lecture of dynamic gravity. You notice my webcam's sharp and crisp today. Woo! Finally figured out how to focus it. I should feel ashamed, seeing I was a top level IT guy for networking for the federal government for like 7 years. But at the end of the day, I just didn't care. So, but it's all good now. So it's all good. So this episode or lecture of dynamic gravitas, we're gonna go into something that I actually wanted to make this video like a year ago. Once I found out, actually 2 years ago now, um, that people figured out that for some reason plasma was more buoyant than it should be in a vacuum chamber. And nobody really has a good explanation for this, so it kind of gets swept under the rug, because if you can't explain it, why talk about it? You're just going to make the commoners and the peasants feel insecure about your rule and who's in charge and your command. Listen, this, however, I believe is proof that my theory of dynamic gravity is right. Hey, focus. Focus. That it's right. And the reason why is you have to understand what gravity is. Okay. um, yeah. And just so you know, I wanted to do this lecture like a year ago, but I've been on such a tear, man, this whole last year. I mean, come on. What haven't we conquered this last year in dynamic gravity? We fixed like you know what? I have a list actually. I'm gonna take a look at this list. Let me see. I made a list for moments like you see. Okay, we figured out gravity. We figured out the math of gravity. We figured out how the universe began. We figured out what are electrons, neutrinos, and quarks and photons and how they're made and how they're destroyed. We figured out what antimatter is and how it's made and how it's destroyed. We figured out, we predicted a gravimetric field, baby. No one else can do that. Or photons. We did photons as well. We solved like the great cosmological antimatter crisis. We figured out how large the universe is and how it ends. We figured out why the universe is predominantly left-handed and not omnidirectional or right-handed. We did all this, man. We figured out what the fine structure constant is. Everything. I know everything. I am the one. And not one fucking soul on this planet fucking believes me enough to even have a 5-minute conversation with me. I'm what I am. Fuck them. But I wanted to do this lecture like a year ago, but it was just so much, man. We've been conquering so much, man. I had so much stuff I had to get out of the way. All right, so we're talking about plasma in vacuum chambers, okay? And why is it more buoyant than it should be? All right, now let's first dig into gravitas. I have kind of a clue what's going on here. This is from our last lecture, whatever it was. I'm sure it was a rager. They all are. Okay, so for dynamic gravity, the way the universe is you has an electron, okay? And the electron wants to be with a proton, not a proton, but a quark, an up quark. And when it joins an up quark, it now becomes a down quark. So this is an up quark, this is an electron. When they combine, they now become a down quark. But it's still negative. It's still like only 1/3 charge, negative oriented. So it needs more. So it finds true stability with 3 up quarks and 1 electron to make the entity we know of as a proton. And the strong nuclear force is really not a fundamental force at all, but really just a never-ending struggle of these 3 up quarks fighting for the attention and affection of this 1 electron. Okay. Now, this is a positive entity because you have 3 up quarks and 1 electron. All in all, it has a charge of +1. It's a positive entity. So it's going to attract more negative entities like electrons. Guess what? All matter in the universe that we know of has electrons in it. Fun fact. Even protons, they have electrons too, as you can see. So it's going to pull all the negative things like electrons, right? And it's going to pull them towards it. But it's going to find an equilibrium. Because if it gets too close, bloop, then what happens is this electron in the center will repel this electron and push it back. So it always keeps it at a certain distance, okay? And actually, I knew I saved that video for a reason. Oh my God, this video explains perfectly. You're like, well, how do that work in the real world, Sean? Your head be cray-cray. You got bump on your head. You don't know reality. Cool. I like to introduce you to the inverter magnetic kit.
Magnet pulls the secondary magnet in.
Yeah, basically you just got 2 magnets. They're attracting each other, and then a thin layer of repulsive magnets. Okay. Now the point is it like I'm saying? Okay, I say this is how the atom works. You have magnets that are attracting to each other and magnets that are repelling. When you combine them all together in the proper orientation, or one that is suitable, that just happens to find true equilibrium, what you get is a lock-in event where as he moves this, look at this, as he moves this, come on, bro, you're making me look bad, bro, just move it already. Just move it. Okay, there we go. You see, as he moves it, it's locked in. It's not going any further away. It's not getting any closer. It's locked at that distance. It's an equilibrium, okay? Now, this is a 2D model. That's why it's got to be on the tabletop to work properly. But the atoms are 3D models of this exact principle. Exact same thing. It's locked into an equilibrium into a distance. It can't go any closer because this electron is repelling it from the core of the proton, but it can't leave because the 3 up quarks have got it. They're like, no, I got you in my car. You're going to go in orbit, you're dead. Sorry. That's the way it is. So, as I said, all matter on the planet, in the universe, has electrons in it. Except, oh, I'm a lying piece of shit. That's a lie. That is a lie. That's not true at all. In fact, if you have something that's all up quarks, then now you don't have an electron in there. But up quarks usually tend to be pairs and with antimatter quark, and it's a whole big. I explained it in other videos. If you really want to go into it, I explained everything I've explained. Okay. What this video is about is proving that there is proof that my theory is correct, because there's no other way to explain this extra buoyancy in plasma if I'm wrong and Einstein is right. Okay? If gravity truly be like a trampoline and you push it down and it all just goes down, then this effect is impossible. And yet we measure it. It's a thing. It's a real. We're going to go into it deeper to really show you what's what, so you don't have to take my word for it. All right? You'll know what I know. Mostly. Okay. So, we have plasma. Now, what plasma is plasma be like an atom, okay? Let's say this whole thing be an atom, okay? This whole thing be an atom. Hello, I'm an atom. Boop, boop, beep, beep, bop, bop, of hydrogen. Okay? So what happens is we bombard this hydrogen atom with a buttload of energy in the form of an electrical field, which the electron is going to respond to. And so now the electron has all the energy it needs to depart and break free of this proton that has it captured, similar to, there we go, similar to this. Yeah. Wow, he's really going into it. Anyways, yeah, it has it captured, okay? Similar to that. So, but when you're in the presence of a very large and immersive electric field that has a lot of energy that electron can interact with, now this electron is going boop to go away. And it's not going to go too far away. And electrons can be made willy-nilly. They're like the easiest thing in the universe to make. That's how AC generators work. They're making electricity. It's not electron creep, and all this other crap. Like people are like, no, electricity is because the electrons come from the copper coil, and all the copper coil comes from the. Cool story, bro. Explain to me Hoover Dam. Yeah. Hey, Hoover Dam. Yeah, you know that dam's been running for 100 years. It puts out gigawatts of power. Yeah, it has been running nonstop for 100 years, powering all of Las Vegas, the most used electrical city in the world. But yet, you're telling me every single one of those electrons came from a finite block of a copper coil. No, bro, you're stupid. That's not how it works, okay? If you don't understand, get the fuck out of GR. You know what you're talking about. Electrons are made. If you want to know how this works, I got like 2 lectures that pretty much go into this pretty well on electrons because they're so important. They're so critical on how dynamic gravity works. So I know them very well. Thank you. But yeah. So now this electron, because the electric field is going to go away, all right? And now what you're going to have is like a proton, at least like if it's a hydrogen, okay? Let's say if it's a helium or anything larger, and a gas like that, whatever. And then now what you're going to have is a bunch, it's going to be ion. You're going to have some electrons that are holding it together with the protons, but you're going to be missing your valence shell electrons, which is not going to make it like an ion, like a cation, and it's going to want to just act as cations do. Okay? So, now, this is what plasma is. Plasma is when you electrically excite all the electrons, the valence shell's electrons of something, and it's left with an ion, and now it's being like vaporized and heated up into this gas form, whatever, and you can do this in a vacuum or in a regular atmosphere or heavy atmosphere, depending on how much electrical energy you dump into it, okay? That's what lightning bolts are. Just plasma, bro. Just plasma arcs. For all simple purposes, all it is. But you see how much energy is needed to get a plasma arc that long of a distance, like a mile from clouds to the ground in atmospheric pressure. You got to have like millions of volts. It's insane. It's a lot. But lightning bolts are pretty ridiculous. Okay. So now we got a bunch of ionized gas, right? That's a plasma. This is a plasma, and it's positive. Okay, it's got a positive charge because remember we got this proton, and the proton is +1. Boop. So it's a positive thing. Now it's not gonna be so positive if it's like a cation ion of a of something that's not hydrogen. You know, like I don't know, deuterium or something, tritium, freaking helium. I don't know, some noble gas, whatever. All the different things you make plasma from. Okay, and yeah. So you got this positive oriented plasma. Okay, now the field of the Earth, because the Earth is a giant gravity reservoir. Okay, so it's positive. Spoiler: it's positive. The Earth's gravity field, all gravity fields in the universe are positive. Black holes, everything. It's all positive. So when you has a positive ion like this, guess what? Einstein says that this is going to go right to your black hole, whatever, your Earth, whatever it is. Bloop. Because Einstein says that gravity is a trampoline that goes depressed with weight and everything falls into the trampoline. But this doesn't explain shit. And you see, we got all these things, like plasmas and whatever, that just don't obey the rule of gravity. There's a lot of things that don't. That's why we have dark matter and dark energy, which I explained and I calculated perfectly. Thank you. In fact, I got a tip with some dude on some forum, man. Because I said, hey, bro, I'll prove my math works. How do you want to do this? Pick a binary system. Pick whatever the hell you want. I'll do the calculations. And after like 2 weeks, I did like 20 of these. Every single one of them worked out perfectly according to my math, the general relativity broken at. And and I'm like, he just wouldn't stop. And I'm like, yo, dude, how many of these do I have to do before you finally admit that my math works? And he's like, never. I'll never admit it. Fuck you. I know it's wrong. And I'm like, bro, I've been doing this for weeks, man. I did like 20 of them, dude. Come on, man. Give me a little love. And he's like, fuck you, never. So I'm like, that's it. I'm done. But my math works. It's legit, son. I'm legit. Gravity is what I say it is. That's the way it is. Sorry. So, we got a large gravitational field from like the Earth or something, or say the sun, okay? And now we have a bunch of plasmas because they've been electrically charged from the Earth or the sun's, electric field, whatever, stuff going on, fusion, blah, 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 blah. Einstein says these are going to go in. I say they go away. Well, funny thing, we know that they do go away. 100% they do. And in fact, we know that hydrogen and helium, regular atoms, just escape all the way into space. They go away like anti-gravity, away from the planet. Now, this really isn't from anti-gravity. It's actually buoyancy from atmospheric air pressure. But there is some anti-gravity going on there in the fact that they're also not being as pulled by gravity as other heavier atoms like lithium and above. So there's definitely, it's a combination of a whole lot of things, okay? But for plasma in particular, because it's positively charged and your gravitational field is positively charged, it's actually going to have an anti-gravitational effect. And this has been what I've been focusing on my experiments for anti-gravity. And fun fact, I'm still awaiting my vacuum chamber. I got my cloud chamber, but my vacuum chamber supposedly is supposed to come in the mail any day now. I don't know if I'm gonna hold my breath on that, but I got a great experiment that I'm very optimistic about. That could possibly prove to generate anti-gravity. I have created forces. Now I have to see if those forces are still there in a vacuum, or whether they were created by air pressure differentials or all sorts of crazy things, electric fields, static fields, blah, 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 all sorts of crazy things you have to rule out. But usually it's always air. Vacuum usually takes care of everything. So hopefully soon, in a month or two, I'll be posting a video about my experiments and what I'm doing, how it works, and hopefully I have something good to say about it. Until then, we just gotta wait and see. Hopefully the vacuum chamber will come in soon. All right, so we got positive plasma. It's gonna get pushed away. All right, Einstein said, "No, it's gonna get pulled." Cool story. Ergo, we go to coronal mass ejections, which are just giant, significant ejection of plasma mass from the sun's corona and the heliosphere. Okay. Now, you would expect to see things like this, according to my theory of gravity, because you got positive plasma that is being made from the sun. It's going to build up, and then it's going to shoot away. because it's gonna have a breaking point. It's just gonna shoot away like a jet, and it's gonna go straight away from the sun, unless of course the cavity is being affected by a magnetic field a line of the sun, which does happen quite a lot, because we know plasma is positively charged, but it is magnetically positively charged, so it is affected by magnetic fields. Nothing too crazy there. All right. Um, there really isn't too many good things. This one I think is showing a magnetic field. Yeah, solar filament that crosses. I want to believe that creates a explosion. Yeah, yeah, magnetically contained. But if you look at like this picture of the sun, you can see like here's a filament where it's getting magnetically contained, but a lot of these they're just straight up shooting off into space. Okay, just straight, boom. Now keep in mind, according to Einstein, plasma is definitely going to be affected by gravity, 100%. It's going to be pulled to it, and according to my theory, it's going to get pushed away. Now, so according to Einstein, the only reason why these plasmas are being pushed out like this so far, millions and mazillions of miles away, is because of pressure, some sort of explosion happening in the sun, blowing plasma out. But does it blow out anything else but plasma? No, it only ever blows out plasma. But if it's an explosion, shouldn't it blow out something else but it's not plasma? Well, I mean, technically, but we don't, but it only does plasma. I mean, according to shut the fuck up. They don't know what they're talking about, man. How many times I gotta tell you to tell these motherfuckers to shut up? They don't know what they're talking about. They talk to you like you're stupid, and they pretend like they know everything. They don't know nothing. They're dumb. They're retarded. I know this because when I try to explain to them my theory and how my math works, they look at me like a deer in headlight. What do you mean I have to think for myself? Yeah, you have to. Sorry, it's a thing. When you're a human, you got to do some thinking. So, this is I'm trying to lay the groundwork for what's coming. All right, guys. This is plasma is coming from our sun all the time, and it's shooting straight out. Sometimes it gets trapped in magnetic fields, but a lot of times it doesn't. But this is what you would expect to see if my theory dynamic gravity is correct. Okay. Einstein cannot deal with this. He can't. They just can't. All right. So,
Oven transformers in
here are
series. We're talking some very, very high voltage.
interesting, very high voltage. Okay. He's going to make a plasma arc right here, kind of like how the
Lightning
sun
rods
would.
up here, and
And look at how high this goes up.
you're right, this is going to be big.
That's what you say. Big. It'll big. It was big. But you can see. I mean, that is. Look at how high it goes. Look at how high that goes, and it's so wavy. I mean, some of this is heat because it's expanding from heat, and so it's taking up more space. Some of it is buoyancy from air pressure, and some of it is from magnetic fields, and some of it is some anti-gravity. Man, there's a lot of shit going on to explain why it do that, why it be like that. There's a lot of stuff touching it to make it do that. All right. Oh yeah.
Now what happens if I try
This
a syringe with
I thought was
vacuum?
really cool. You can see he's making plasma in just a syringe by just pulling it and creating a vacuum. You know, with it touching the needle or a
Need
nail or
much less
whatever.
light. Let's try it again. Travel
I mean-
easier and further in vacuum.
I mean, look at that. That's pretty cool, right? But just
My
shows you that
syringe
plasma
melted.
is nothing special. It's any gas that's electrically charged becomes plasma. Any gas. And in fact, technically, a lot of things turn to plasma if you have enough energy dumped into them. Gas or solid, don't matter. Truthful, not at all. It's a matter of how much energy we got to do to get there. This I thought was just super cool. I just wanted to show you. I guess dude's trying to make a stellarator, but you can see he's got, this is plasma going around these coil magnets, and you can see the loop, the continuous loop that it takes. It wants to be a continuous streamer. It just makes this really cool loopy pattern where he's trying to get it to compress and do some sort of fusion, process. But I really haven't, I haven't done a video about fusion yet. I really should. I really should. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna, so I don't forget, I'm gonna do a video on fusion because there's a lot going on with cold fusion. There's a lot going on right now. To me, the state's always been the same. I don't think it's really going to go anywhere. The only approach that they're using for fusion right now is only one company that I'm like, they might actually do it. It's possible. For the first time, I believe it might actually be possible. But even that, it's still a very long shot. So we'll see. I'll probably do a video on fusion someday soon, in a few months. Magnetic inverter, we don't need to see that.
They're blowing around in the wind. We're at around
just to show you
0.4 atmospheres now.
He's taking a Tesla
Look at
coil,
sucked out this
right?
time, so we can see
Tesla
how the
coil
sparks change.
with like a metal bar on there. Easy to show you like how the electricity, how the sparks, how the arcs, the plasma arcs basically change with
pressure.
Atmospheric
Okay, let's
pressure.
turn it on. Atmospheric pressure now.
Now he's at 1.
Okay,
you can
so you
see
can see
it's-
those are the sparks coming off of it.
And now
So
as
not
he
very long sparks.
as he starts
And it's
sucking
not-
out the air, it
We're at
starts
around
getting
0.2 atmospheres now,
brighter,
or 0.1 atmospheres.
longer, more envelope.
Yeah, now there's no more
and
sparks,
round.
and it's just that glow. The wire's just glowing
More
now.
like an envelope of electricity swallowing it instead of an actual gap with a spark, creating gaps somewhere.
That's crazy. Now, oh, there they are. There's the full breakdown happening.
And there we go. Nice.
They're blowing around in the wind. We're at around,
And if you
and
get
now
too
they're
low,
getting shorter and
if you
shorter.
get to
We're
where
at
there's
around
no
0.8
atmosphere at all,
atmospheres.
then
And now the stringers are getting shorter.
it will actually.
Atmospheric pressure, they're not that long anymore.
Yeah.
What we've seen here is actually
He's taking it out so much that if you take all the air, like a true vacuum out, like most of these vacuums are not true vacuums. They're like 10% vacuum or, 5% vacuum, 1% vacuum. They've taken a lot of the air out, but they're not a perfect vacuum. But as you approach a perfect vacuum, all these plasmas cease to exist because there's nothing in there for the electric field to ionize and make a plasma. But if you have, like, say, I think 10% atmospheric pressure seems to be a sweet spot where you've taken enough of the atmosphere out that the plasma has plenty of room and it doesn't need a whole lot of energy to manifest itself. It can go very far out. But if you get, like, as you approach 0%, it just, all that wibbles away into nothingness because there's nothing left to ionize to turn into plasma. If that makes any sense.
a bit of pressure in there. And the reason this happens is pretty interesting. So when a spark happens, atom has enough energy so that the electron can get ripped off of
he's
it.
gonna
And as soon as that
explode
electron gets pulled off,
here.
it has to gain enough energy so that if it hits another atom, then it knocks the electron off that atom. And then that electron flies off and hits another atom.
He might be overselling that, but it happens. It's a thing. All right. Now, we're almost getting to the point. This is something I also wanted to show you. This is like a toroid generator. It's like a vacuum in there, not perfect vacuum, of course, but this one, I think he says he's got like tungsten carbide or something in there, some gas, tungsten carbide gas, I'm guessing. So it has like a pretty, is that teal color? Very beautiful. I like it. But I guess that's like clicking it, trying to get the static charge to get it going, so it can manifest the toroid. This is probably a good way to think of like what electrons and quarks are. It's like this right here, just a toroid of electrical energy confined by a magnetic field. That's really what it is. That's all it is. And you see how it moves according to what pressures are interacting with it, just like we know electrons do. Hence the double slit experiment, hence everything. It's all right there in front of you if you just know how to look at it, man. It's really simple. But man, that looks cool. Wow, look at that. It's almost like sparkling, like particling off. Holy cow. That's so cool. All right. So, as you can see though, it wants to rise. You see that right there. It was happy around here where the actual magnetic field being generated from this super high, like gigawatt frequency electric, low energy oscillation, gigahertz, swishing constantly. It's creating this magnetic field constantly oscillating that controls us. But it will break away from the magnetic field and still retain itself because it wants to be a toroid, because the toroid is a stable structure, and it will rise. It will rise in this almost evacuated cylinder, probably like I said, 10% vacuum, 1 atmosphere. And the question is, when we does the mass of buoyancy, does the amount and how fast and how much energy this thing is using to rise up so fast, does that match the maths of buoyancy and like bubbles and stuff, how that works? We're going to find out. But you see, it always wants to rise. It always wants to rise. It never wants to stay on the low part. It always wants to rise. It's actually stable on the top. That's crazy. Doesn't matter what configuration it is. It always wants to rise. You see that, right? It rises. This rise. No matter what I do, it's always trying to rise. Rise. Always rise. The plasma always rises. Okay? But it rises with a very, very vicious velocity. It's not like smoke slowly boiling up into the atmosphere. I mean, this is just like shooting up, like it's got a lot of energy pushing it up, okay? Almost like it's got an entire planet of anti-gravity there. Just saying. All right. So, here is an experiment. The role of gravity and the motion of plasma arcs inside plasma balls. An investigation into the NASA Reduced Gravity Student Flight Opportunities Program. I'm so fucking ecstatic they did this experiment. Usually they do stupid stuff when they get this opportunity to go up on this NASA airplane that does the hyperbolic things where it flies up and then it goes like straight down to where it's going down so fast that you basically float. You're in a microgravity field. And so they do a lot of experiments with this and to basically see how gravity will simulate. Now, this is not a perfect simulator of gravity unless you believe in general relativity. Then it is the same according to the principle of equilibrium, whatever it is. I don't know. Einstein. But I'm telling you, the creator of dynamic gravity, the guy that's actually right, this is not a perfect simulator of gravity. But it's good enough for 99% of stuff. But it's not perfect. Now, what they were doing here is, I tried to check out the actual paper, but these guys are asshats. Sorry, they are. As you can see, they, here's, where their paper is located. But you got to pay, like, geez, man, $35 a month just to read this one fucking paper? Really, bro? Really? I thought knowledge was supposed to be free, dude. Not $35 a fucking month. see if here's some pictures. Oh no, that's some other stuff. So, anyways, yeah. Unfortunately, that's not. I'm not going to pay $35 to show you this. If I made money on this channel, I probably would, but I don't because none of y'all subscribe, none of y'all support me, none of y'all care. I would be living under a damn bridge in a box like a troll, and y'all don't even care. I need another drink. You know when I start talking about fucking living on a bridge like a troll, I need a fucking drink. Okay, so where were we? Okay, but we can read the abstract. They do give us the abstract for free. And we present an investigation performed on undergraduate as part of NASA Reduced Gravity Student Flight Opportunities Program. The goal is determined as the importance of buoyancy-driven convection and the motion of plasma streamers on commercially available plasma balls. The motion of the plasma streamers studied a function of the acceleration level provided by the drop experiment's parabolic flights of the NASA KC-135. We determined that there were more than 2 contributing factors to the motion of plasma arcs. Buoyancy-driven convection and magnetic fields from the Tesla coil that were generated in the high voltage in the plasma ball. When the plasma ball was isolated from the Tesla coil, the streamer's velocity were higher. At non-zero, blah, 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 blah. So, basically, what they're saying is we don't know what the fuck is going on here, but we done the maths, we took in the measurements, and we cannot account for our results with general relativity alone. We treated the plasma arc like a buoyant puff of smoke, and we've accounted for the magnetic contribution. And we are still not there. There is still other things that are pushing the plasma arc up that we do not understand yet. That's what they're saying. I wish I could read the whole paper to see the conclusion, to see how much of an emphasis, what they want to say, but it be what it be. The world ain't perfect. All right? So, just so you know, this is an experiment done on NASA's KC-135 plane by NASA with undergrads for Inspire's probably experiment. And they are saying there is something more pushing up plasma in a vacuum chamber than what we know, what we can account for. Ergo, my theory of gravity. So, and then we have the second paper. This dude, he's basically summarized the paper and shows us some pretty good stuff. So I really want to go off his thing better. But I know some of you guys, basically, I know this is form. Cool story, bro. I will show you the actual paper. Here be the actual paper. The ziggity dog. For those of you who are haters and think that I'm trying to lie to you. I would never lie to you. I have never lied to you. I will never lie to you. If I'm hungry, I will fucking eat you alive. I'm not going to fucking lie about it. That's the way it is. You can trust me in that I will never lie to you. If I'm going to fuck you, I'm going to look you in the eyes and tell you how I'm going to do it and then proceed to do it. There is no lying about the whole situation. I do not lie. If I tell you the sky is falling, bitch, you best look up because you're about to get smothered. Just saying. That's the way it is. Now, the explosion of plasma in a gravitational field. Abstractly is shown characteristically the arc of discharge within a pressure of 0.1 atmosphere, the sweet spot, remember I'm trying to tell you, is mostly caused not by the action forces of buoyancy, by the explosion of plasma in a gravitational field. Wow. Almost like I know what I'm fucking talking about, and you guys haven't caught up to me yet. And you can see, here's the experiment. He measures these arcs at different temperatures, or not temperatures, but different atmospherics, okay? And he performs various, fucking formulas there to calculate how much it should go up if we're dealing with this and this force, like science says we have to be because general relativity is correct. It's not correct. It's bullshit. You can do much better. So, that's the deal, okay? This is the actual paper. It's very short, only like 2 pages long, but it's real, it exists, it was done, it's a thing, okay? So you know. I'm not making shit up. Now, let's go back to this because I like this one better. It's pretty. Okay. Explosion of gravitational field. A paper published 4 years ago, 2016. This is 2020 here now. So many of you probably don't know too much about it. Generally speaking, it deals with a simple experiment which proves plasma in a vacuum chamber is being pushed away from the source of a gravitational field. I wouldn't go as far to say that it proves it's a gravitational field pushing it, but I will say this. It proves that it's definitely not completely contributed by buoyancy from atmospheric pressure and whatnot. It's just not, okay? There's something else going on, and it does not make sense. You cannot make it make sense if you are a dirty general relativity believer. I'm not saying you're less of a human being because you believe in general relativity. I'm just saying we should probably give you a helmet so you have some protective headgear and take away your right to vote. You don't need it. You're good. That's all I'm saying. The rest is up to you, how you interpret that. Now, here's the 2 pictures of the plasmas at different, atmospheric pressures, blah, 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 if they use an AC. This is also something I want to show you guys. Let's take a quick breather from this real quick.
So here we're just using a nut. Now we're going to use a neodymium magnet.
He's using plasma arcs. This is an atmospheric pressure. But he's showing you, basically, he's got 2 different ones. One that's a DC plasma arc, which is this one, and then one that's an AC plasma arc. And what he's showing you is how a magnetic field affects the plasma arc differently, depending on whether the voltage is DC, direct current, meaning you have a lot of current being transferred from here to there continuously, or AC, from like a generator, where you're generating electricity, where you have this constant oscillation of power. It's different. AC and DC are not the same thing.
Magnet produces
so this is how a magnet
kind of like
affects DC
an oscillating
arcs.
kind of spiral type.
You see, it just like it spazzes out.
This
like
is
it's freaking out. It doesn't know what to do, right? It just starts vibrating. So it's
quite an
and
impressive
jiggling.
effect.
That's a word. I made it up now. It's a word. Jiggling. It's thing. It's done. Get over
the next
it.
one is an unrectified.
Now here's AC. You can tell because it has a different sound to it, a higher. And it also is more. It's not. It just looks like it. The DC looks like it'll hurt you more, and it really will. But look at this. Look at that. Totally different effects. Totally. Like it almost envelops. It makes an envelope of electricity, like in low atmosphere, remember? Around the magnetic field where it just follows the whole magnetic field line. Really radical stuff, man. And I am taking this into account with my experiment to try and generate anti-gravity from electricity. I'm doing both. I've gotten 2 highest power supplies of AC and DC because it has to be done, son. It just has to be because it's me. But I just want you to know, AC and DC are different beasts, and they react differently around magnets and period all the way. And that includes plasma arcs generated from AC and DC. And here he actually burns his glass insulator
like a little channel.
because it overheated.
Burn.
Okay. All right. So yes. Although it might seem obvious to common people that modern physics can't explain such behavior of plasma, output today is such effect is being explained in the force of buoyancy. Buoyancy. According to which the uplift is caused by a density pressure differential in a medium, science tells us that Earth's surface to flame directed upward due to the same process, which allows a hot air balloon to fly, or rather float. In short, because density atmosphere decreases with the increase in altitude. Everything what is less dense, the air and the surface level will be pushed up by atmospheric pressure. Okay? Drain damage. Got blown up in Iraq one too many times. Now I got the head poo-poos. Does what it does. I'll be what I'll be. So, this is a pretty cool picture right here. Let's just show you of a flame burning in oxygen, 20%, 21%, 1G versus micro G. So this is showing you not atmosphere, but gravity acceleration. This would be at sea level. This would be in, I guess you could argue, microgravity probably situation. You see how the flame just it envelops, just like a plasma arc does. And that is because essentially fire is technically a plasma, if we want to get technical about it. But where's the lie? So, this is what I've been told by physicists. I just want to make it clear that gravity does attract everything, including hot gases and a flame. And those gases were enclosed by a tiny balloon, but strong enough to hold them. They were no air. They would fall in the direction of gravity. However, as a proven experiments involving vacuum chambers, such statement seems to be incorrect for the matter of state of plasma, as it still experiences an upward lift despite the lack of density differential in the medium. Notice state of plasma. Now keep in mind, according to my theory of gravity, dynamic gravity, plasma is a special unicorn that deserves our love and adoration because it's positively charged, like gravity. It's amazing. Everything else is negatively charged, and there's just a negative Nancy, and a bummer can go to hell. But plasma's different. Yay! So, what you need to know. Clear to make some of this once lifetime chase. Even calculator shows there's still no one that can claim the official right to invention of plasma-powered anti-gravity drive. Well, I'm working on it, baby. Let my vacuum chamber come in. I might have already made it. I might have already done it. Now, we just got to wait and find out when the vacuum, see what the vacuum says. I'm hoping it will be soon. But with my luck, it won't be soon. It never is soon. I have pretty shitty luck. I want to let you know, those rights have been claimed by me, a guy who's in business for fun. That's actually me too, but this guy thinks he's me. But I would make such a controversial claim without having some actual evidence to back it up. In the real life, propulsion system, you need to apply energy to Owen space. Yeah. So he's just making plasma in a microwave. I don't know why he has that. Anyways, yeah, here he starts falling off and he starts trying to peddle his own theory of gravity. Noob. No. But see, his theory of gravity is wickety whack. Like I read it like 3 times, and I still have no fucking clue what he's trying to talk about, which tells me he has no clue either. He's talking about momentum and yeah, momentum and something else. I can't remember because I'm drunk as fuck right now, drunk like a skunk. But yeah, it basically this dude's theory of gravity is wizzack, and it doesn't work out. It's not right, man. But he's trying, and I give him credit for noticing this and for bringing it to my attention, because I think this is the actual the article like a couple years ago that brought it to my attention that, hey, man, there is something going on with plasma in a vacuum that general relativity cannot deal with. It's not prepared to deal with it. And so basically, what I'm trying to say, this whole lecture, has been that I believe, I really, really do. Before I go there, just take a look. I looked up, see if there's any other papers, plasma arc and vacuum, and there's some things, but there's really nothing that's good. So this one piqued my interest, but not for reasons of that, for other things, which hopefully I'll go into soonish or laterish, but we'll never know. Listen, the point is I'm trying to make is general relativity is wrong. And because it's wrong, there's going to be chinks in the armor that people have made up that are going to have holes, glaring, gaping holes in their armor of general relativity that you can just like stab. And they can't do anything about it because the armor can't deal with it. And I believe that this is one of those things where general relativity cannot explain why there is this extra buoyancy, this extra force pushing plasmas away from gravitational fields. But this is what is predicted and what you would expect with my theory of gravity, dynamic gravity. Okay? So, that's been the whole point of this video. I've probably spent way too long pushing that point. Just know, when people say that, well, general relativity, every observation, every test ever proven general relativity correct. No, they're wrong. They're bullshit. They don't know what they're talking about. Just slap them. They don't know what they're talking about. Now, if you were to substitute that and say that there is no direct evidence against dynamic gravity, that might be correct. Because I'll be honest, I've searched for many years for something, some flaw in my system, some observation that would totally and irreparably break my theory. And I have yet to find it. In fact, literally, almost every single observation ever made in human history can easily be explained by by dynamic gravity. Easily. But what do I know? I'm just some crazy drug addict and deep in the mountains of Asia trying to catch cobras for fun because I'm a crazy motherfucker. What do I know? Fuck me, right? And with that, I love you all. If you made it this far, adios, muchachos. Until the next one, which will probably be one of religion. You need it, trust me. You really do. And I'm going to give it to you. And on that, I bid you adieu. Love you, goodbye.
Like, subscribe, submit.